Hey guys, it's Jonah here, back with another one of these beer reviews that I do. We're delving back into the Cloudwater Big IPA. I should read these things really before I start doing these things. So these are all kind of IPAs, I should say. So the beer, and it was a beer that I drank yesterday, did actually have hops in, as I put in the description, which I was very surprised about because I couldn't detect them as such. But I think I did have hop matter because I delved through it while I was doing the washing up. Um, anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about this beer, and this is queer beer or queer brewing, I should say. Um, and I guess I don't know what I mean. Pink is usually kind of associated with kind of gay stuff, but who knows? This IPA is a collaboration with Queer Brewing using our favourite malt, and it features a hop called Citra. Now, for those of you that don't know, Citra is the most grown hop in the whole fucking world. So I don't know why they've made this point of saying, "Oh, it's a hop called Citra." You could say it is the hop, which is crazy. But anyway, Queer Brewing is a queer-owned brewery providing visible. Sorry, there's a bit of shine on the can. And representation for LGBTQ plus people using beer as a vehicle. Nice. I like beer vehicles. You shouldn't drink and drive though. Jesus Christ. These queer brewing people are trying to get us to drive while we're drinking. Especially, this camera is not doing it very well. Anyway, this is a 6% IPA. That is all you need to know. What I'm going to do is I think the box will not be as shiny. Yeah, there we go. It's a vehicle for social change. Our beers raise money for vital LGBTQ plus charities that we work with to make beer a little more appropriate, who are a little more queer on the inside. Wow. Now, I was thinking about this before I'm not going to have a rant as such, but the vernacular, the language used when talking about gender non-conformist or non-binary gender and sexual preference is absolutely crazy. And things change so fast and just ridiculous. So when I was growing up, queer just meant gay, basically. But nowadays, apparently gay, even though women, lesbians, shall we say, or other people can use the word gay, gay usually means gay men, which is so gay is kind of used more for masculine than feminine, but not always. This is where things get really confusing. So the LGBTQ, because they've added Q on the end, is queer, and then plus is there's loads of other letters that you can use afterwards, which is even more confusing to me. Anyway, the Q, queer, apparently is totally not gender specific at all. So that covers basically everyone. If you don't fall into one of the other categories, or you don't want to call yourself a lesbian or a gay man or whatever it is. So queer, I guess, has taken over from what gay was, if that makes sense. Well, to me anyway. So yeah, a queer could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be a transgender, it could be someone who's fluid and bounces between everything and changes. Yeah, so it kind of covers everyone in a loose kind of bracket. then afterwards, there's loads of other letters that follow, which is, you know, what the plus is about on the end. Yeah, so it's a bit confusing for me anyway to get my head round. But yeah, cool, go for it, man. I'm more into equality than anyone else, so it shouldn't really matter. Beer for everyone, but don't drink and drive, definitely. That was a joke, by the way, earlier on when I said a vehicle. It's a vehicle for change. Anyway, so this is brewed in collaboration, like all of these beers that I'm doing this week, with Cloudwater, which is really good. So this is a Citra IPA. So this should be, I'm thinking Citra is probably more West Coast style than East Coast, but this should be a pretty standard IPA, which is a bit ironic because we're talking about, you know, gender fluidity and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So this is very, very traditional. But yeah, why not? Having a very, very traditional beer using the world's most commonly grown hops, but to represent a community that is very not traditional, shall we say, and quite small as well. So look at that. That actually looks much more like a New England style. I call that 1.5 finger head, maybe. And look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous. Lovely, fluffy white clouds, which is always a good sign. Very, very juice-like. So maybe this is a juicy IPA more than anything else. Now, Citra, as we know, or if you've watched enough of my videos, and feel free to subscribe and like, and flick my bell and all that kind of stuff. And then you'll know when I do some upload. I usually upload every day, so yeah, just click subscribe. But Citra is usually kind of grassy, hedgerowy, kind of greenery kind of thing. It's that green thing in beer. Look at that. That is hazy as a mofo. Oh, let me do the money shot and do one of these. And hopefully I'll remember, like I always say these days, to add that at the front of this video. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Sometimes when I do an upload on YouTube, it shows me an unbelievably funny looking photo as one of their pre-generated ones. So sometimes I choose that. But if you follow me on Untapped, and yeah, the link to my Untapped account is in the description down below, you will see that I use a lot of these little clip photos, shall we say, like I've just done, and that's my my first bid on Untapped. Interesting. The other thing is that head is fast disappearing, so I don't think that's going to hang around for too long. Cheers and beers, guys. Whatever you describe yourself as and however you feel, you get much love from your loving Unclejona. So yeah, even though I like having a laugh and a joke, please don't think that I am disrespecting anyone more than anyone else. Yeah, I've got gay friends and I've got trans friends and all sorts. So you know, cool. I need to convert them to drinking beer though. They don't usually drink beer. Don't know why. Oh, that has got a really sharp initial taste, bitter, that is not, to my taste buds, like normal Citra, but then it goes quite juicy, which is also not really like Citra. Although a lot of NEPAs do use it, but not alone. This beer does have a real juiciness and a fruitiness, that you don't get from Citra hops. So this has definitely got other hops in it as well. The initial bitterness and the sort of what I call the hop bite. So right at the beginning, it's like, whoa, this is bitter, and then it goes, ooh, juicy. Yeah, that is something that this style kind of does. So this I would call, pardon me, a juicy IPA, and it's quite well carbonated too. It does have, even though the juiciness of it kind of cleans your palate, it does have quite a nice smoothness to it as well. And unfortunately, these beers that are all made, well, these ones were made up in Ellen in Scotland. Um, yeah, does not have the actual ingredients on here. So they're saying that there's Citra in there, which I do believe, but I'm almost certain that there's some other hoppage in there, and there's definitely some, yeah, some. I would say there's both wheat and oats in here, because there's definitely oats in here, because I'm getting a kind of creaminess after that initial juiciness has gone in. The other thing I'm getting now, 6% beer, doesn't sound too strong, but on my exhaled breath, I'm definitely getting the alcohol sort of warmness. That if you go out in the autumn or winter, which we are fast approaching, it's almost equinox. It'll be at the end of the month, which means we will be in winter. Yeah, and you've gone into a pub and you've had whatever tipple you like, and you've come out of the warm pub into the coldness of the evening. You get the breath and the steam, but you can definitely sort of have that alcohol kind of taste, or you know what I mean? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But that first breath of, I'm out in the cold, and oh, reminiscing on the cold winter's nights that we're going to be approaching very soon. And would I have one of these beers? Yes, I would. It's really nice, actually. Um, would I say this beer is potentially, because obviously what Queer Brewing are trying to do is entice people. It says make beer more approachable. Is this a beer that you would have as your first beer ever? I don't know if it is. Um, that initial kind of hot bite right at the beginning is quite. It's not insane. It's not a really high IBU beer, but yeah, it might scare people off. Like, whoa, what's this? Whoa. I tell you what, though, the more you do drink this, the less that hop bite gets, which also suggests that it is coming from the hops. Basically, that bitterness comes from the hop oils, um, and your palate is very susceptible to these. So your initial sort of mouth feel, your mouth drink, your initial sip, if you like, of this beer, your receptors in your mouth are really going to go, whoa, what's this? And as you go down the glass, because you've had that initial one, the second one isn't so, yeah, isn't so strong, and then the third one isn't so strong, and then blah 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 blah. It's like a drug. Do you know what I mean? The first hit, the first time you ever have it, it's the heaviest one. Um, the first cut is the deepest, and that kind of jazz. So I don't know. Could you? The other thing I'm thinking is, could you drink a few of these of an evening? I don't know. If you really like hoppy beers, then maybe, especially if you like juicy beers. Um, and perhaps that's the point, because they're juicy and fruity, and it kind of continually washes your mouth clean, your palate, should I say, clean, even though the oils are probably now coating my mouth. Um, yeah, I don't know. I still don't think this necessarily is a beginner's beer. But it is quite nice and fruity. Ooh, and there we are. Even a tiny, tiny, tiny wee bit of lacing on the glass, although not much. So perhaps not as much wheat, if there is any, or oat in there at all. Let me show the box one more time. Cloudwater beers. 3 modern juicy IPAs and one that's alcohol free, which is the one I had yesterday. So this is this is a juicy beer, shall we say. I'm quite enjoying this wee trip. It says it's brewed and canned at the UK Bal Balmacassey Commercial Park in Ellen, which is in Scotland, of course. I didn't think Cloudwater were in Scotland. Maybe they're just sending them up to Ellen. Because what's the big brewery in Ellen? Oh man, it's not. See, this is where I start waxing lyrical about beer, which is probably why this review is 17 minutes long. Oh man, I can't. I'll look it up for you, and I'll know by tomorrow. Oh, what is that brewery called? But there's a very famous brewery in Ellen, up in Scotland. It's not, I don't think it's Cloudwater. If it's Cloudwater, I've made a big mistake. But I've been drinking beer. You know what I mean? I'm allowed to make mistakes. I'm just telling you my personal opinion here on the beers that are put in front of me. So, you know, is it Brewdog? It's not Brewdog, is it? It can't be. It might be. I don't think it is. Oh well, I'll find out for you and I'll tell you tomorrow. Until then, guys, you have a really good beginning of the week. And yeah, if you're in the UK, enjoy the rain. Unfortunately, you know, those storming weathers are here. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow with another beer from Cloudwater. Big Ideas IPA Challenge. He says as he knocks the tripod there. And yeah, if you are LGBTQ plus, why not send me a message. You know, I'm friendly to all. Put it that way. I'm not going to be prejudiced about who you are. Come on, guys. We'll see you real soon.